All right, my little chaps and chapettes, gather round. Welcome back to Cinephiles. Hope you are all having a wonderful day. Cinephiles, where every frame tells a story and every story is a bloody masterpiece. Well, most of them, unless it's a Michael Bay film, but we'll get into that another time. Now, if you're the sort who loves a good plot twist, whether it's a 50-year-old blockbuster or the latest Hollywood film, you, my little chaps and chapettes, have found your cinema home. So grab your popcorn or a cheeky little beverage or two, and let's get stuck in to today's video. Today, we're deep diving into the glorious madness of the 1970s. The new Hollywood movement, they called it, and to be honest, they could have called it, let's throw some bloody caution to the wind and make some bloody brilliant films. I mean, this was the decade when directors like Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, and Stanley Kubrick decided they were done with the studio bigwigs telling them what to do. No more cookie cutter films, no more sugar coated happy endings. Instead, they made films so gritty, so raw, that even the soap opera dramas looked like a Disney advert. Now, don't think the 70s were all about flashy camera angles and rocking soundtracks, though. There were plenty of those. Oh, no, 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 my friends. This was the decade when movies started really reflecting the chaos going on in the world. Take the 1976 Film Network, for example. It's not just about a mad news anchor yelling at the TV screen, that famous line, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That film didn't just hit a nerve, it punched a nerve. It was a savage commentary on the media, and you know what? It's still so relevant today. And then there's the French Connection, and no, it's not just some fancy cheese platter. This one's a raw, gritty look at New York City's drug trade and corruption. It's, if I'm being honest, it's a bit like your mate's excuses when he's late for the pub. Messy, raw, and just a little too real. And do not get me started on Chinatown. Oh, that film is a labyrinth of corruption, so twisted it'll make your head spin. You'll need a guide just to get through the plot, and believe me, it's worth every effort. But hey, don't think the 70s were all doom and gloom, mate. These filmmakers were also genre bending like there was no tomorrow. Let's have a let me think. Let's take The Godfather, right? It's it's not just a mob film. It's a family saga with all the power struggles, loyalty, and betrayal you could want. It's like if The Sopranos met The Sound of Music, but with more bullets and fewer musical numbers. Seriously, if you like cinema and you love cinema, and let's be honest, we're the reason why we're here and the reason why we're watching is because we love cinema. I implore you, please watch the film. It's a fantastic film. It's a beautiful film. It's a film that has stood the test of time. It is, I think, the greatest American gangster film, or in my opinion, at least the top five greatest American films of all time. There will be a list soon. Please don't worry. Yes, of course. Anyway, on to the next one. There is The Exorcist. Now, this film didn't just make you jump out of your seat, it made you question your very existence. It's not just about a girl spinning her head around and puking pea soup, it's about faith, fear, and everything dark and terrifying lurking beneath the surface. Oh, honestly. You might start checking your attic for demons after this one, and who could forget Clockwork Orange? Kubrick's disturbing dystopian masterpiece, which asks the big questions about free will, control, and society's moral decay. It's like someone shoved your brain into a blender, but somehow you're kind of grateful for the ride. Now, let's talk actors, because the 70s were massive acting. Now, let's talk actors, because the 70s were massive for acting. Gone were the polished glamour stars of the 50s, your Clark Gables, your Humphrey Bogarts, your Fred Astaire's. In came the raw, gritty performances of your Gene Hackmans, your Robert De Niro's, your Al Pacinos, your Jack Nicholsons. Now, let's take Robert De Niro for example. In Taxi Driver, he's Travis Bickle, a loner on the edge of madness. It's not just a performance, it's a transformation. Well, you wouldn't want to get in a ride with this guy, but damn, his performance, hauntingly brilliant. And then, of course, if we're talking about actors, there is Raging Bull. Yes, 1980s, but if you look at Robert De Niro's performance in that, he puts the pounds on, gets in the ring, he becomes a full on emotional, physical, mental. He becomes Jake LaMotta. He becomes a boxer. He's not just acting as a boxer, he is a boxer. He is, in my opinion, one of the best performances I've ever seen of someone who transforming themselves. And then, if we're talking about the 1970s and actors, we cannot forget Al Pacino. This guy went from playing a reluctant son in The Godfather to becoming one of cinema's most powerful figures as Michael Corleone. Pacino's portrayal is a slow burn of inner turmoil and brutal power. You can feel the weight of every single decision he does. And in Serpico, he plays a cop fighting corruption in the NYPD. It's like watching someone struggle with what's right and what's wrong, and you can't look away. And as for Jack Nicholson, where do I begin on Jack? In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he is a rebel without cause, sticking it to the system and owning every moment. And in Chinatown, he's the sharp as tack detective Jake Giddy's cutting through the film's twisted plot with his one-liners and dark wit. Honestly, in my humble opinion, Jack Nicholson didn't just act in the 70s, he owned the 70s. So, if you're fancying diving in to the madness of 70s cinema, here are a few films you must absolutely check out. Now, of course, this is my humble and honest opinion on the four films that I think you should check out. If you don't want to watch them, that's totally fine. I will judge you, but it is what it is. But these are just, in my opinion, four films that I think you should watch that are truly, quintessentially 70s classical films. So, of course, number one is The Godfather. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? Seriously, it's a fantastic film. Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, beautiful film. It's got James Caan in it. It's a film, as I said earlier, about family powers, family struggles, the power, corruption, and a young boy coming back from the war who doesn't really want to be involved in the family business but ends up becoming his father. Now, number two is Quadrophenia. If you haven't seen this film, it's a brilliant British film about youth rebellion in the 60s with a soundtrack by The Who. Now, if you are going to watch the film, I would also recommend just listening to the soundtrack. Peter Townsend produced a beautiful soundtrack, which for me, from song 1 to song 10, I can't remember. But yes, every single song tells a story, and every story in that song, it talks about the struggles and the heartache and how life was like for kids in the 60s. I mean, the film is based around a guy called Jimmy, who is a mod rockers, the class divides of a young generation. One hated one hated the other. And for me, listening to Jimmy, who is a boy struggling with his own identity, his own trying to fit in a world that's ever evolving. Gone were the days of the war, and now, we're in a new era, a new age. And the song My Generation by The Who is so relevant, and the film is so relevant that you could put that film in any single decade and it would be so relevant to today. Now, number three is Alien. If you haven't seen it and you like sci-fi, I am judging you. Sigourney Weaver will show you what it really means to survive in space. And bad arse doing it. For me, an absolute classic sci-fi film. I think it is the sci-fi film. I think it's the sci-fi horror film, but it's definitely the sci-fi film. That film for me is bloody terrifying. The use of cinematography, the use of the alien, the use of the fact that actually Sigourney Weaver's character isn't a Mary Sue. She's not, everything opens up the door, everything opens up, like doors open up here, there. Everything's easy. You just got to press a button. She's not like other characters. She actually struggles, and she's actually quite the best at it. And I think that's what makes her more relatable. You're actually going through the struggles with her, and that's why for me, Alien is a fantastic film. If you have seen it, I implore you to watch it again and watch it. Please, watch it with the lights off. It's bloody terrifying. Now, number 4 is Scum, a brutal, unflinching look at life in a British juvenile detention centre. Think Lord of the Flies, but with more swearing and less hope. This film put Ray Winston on the map. This film is truly a harsh and horrible reflection of what life was like for young boys in a juvie. That one scene in the greenhouse, haunting, it's a terrifying scene. But the film is truly remarkable, and as I said, it made one of Britain's most beloved actors, Ray Winston. So, there you have it. The 70s were a bloody revolution in cinema. Directors were pushing boundaries, actors were giving raw, unforgettable performances, and entire genres were flipped on their heads. These films weren't just movies, they were cultural landmarks and still resonate today. If you haven't seen these gems, what are you doing? Trust me, watch them, you will not regret it. Alright folks, so that's your lot for today. Thank you so much for listening to the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and drop a comment down below. What is your favourite 70s film and why? What is your worst 70s film and why? And give me your favourite actor. Who is your favourite actor in the 1970s? But yes, please, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And always remember, be lucky, stay cheeky, don't forget to have a little beveragino or two, and never underestimate the power of a good film. Ta-la for now.